Hello everyone, and today I will be doing my summer movie rankings, where I will be ranking all the movies I have seen this summer from worst to best. Now, let's go over the ground rules. First one, I will only be including movies that have come out from May to August. So that means movies like Avengers Endgame, not going to be on the list. Second rule, I am only talking about the movies I have seen this year. So, unfortunately, that means there will be no Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Men in Black International, Dora the Explorer movie, or Hobbs and Shaw. Don't expect those movies on this list. I didn't see them. I didn't see those movies. Also, this is my personal opinion, and if you disagree, that's fine. Post your rankings in the comments of the movies you've seen this summer, and yeah. Without further ado, let us begin with number 11. The Angry Birds movie 2. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, the worst animated movie I have seen this year so far. It's not the worst movie I've seen all year round. I mean, it might be, depending on if there's any bad movies I see later down the road this year. But this movie was pretty bad, all things considered. Like I said in my review, the only things I really liked in this movie were a couple jokes and the animation. That's about it. The first movie was one of the worst movies I saw in 2016. Probably in the top 5 of worst movies I saw in 2016, along with Ghostbusters 2016, Batman vs. Superman, and Suicide Squad, and of course, Norm of the North. And yeah, this sequel was not very good. And yeah, I don't really want to talk about this movie. It was just painful to sit through. I was literally angry in the theater, and I was about to shout, but I didn't. So, yeah, Angry Birds 2, you were complete garbage, and I am kind of annoyed that this movie has a higher rating than the Detective Pikachu movie. So, yeah. Number 10, The Lion King remake. Remember how the original Lion King had expressions and actual characters? We'll remove that out of the way because this remake has no expressions and barely cared about what it was doing. The only thing really good about this movie is the CGI. Literally. The characters, they're not as memorable as they were in the original. They weren't. The songs, not very good. Especially Be Prepared. What they did to Be Prepared was terrible. Seriously. They ruined my favorite Disney villain song. And of course, thanks to the whole CGI making it look all real, the characters have literally next to no expressions. So that means scenes like Simba finding Mufasa's dead body have less impact in this movie, and also when they're trying to do stuff from the original, it feels less impactful than it did in the original. The only stuff that's really good besides the CGI is the new stuff they added, and yeah, this remake was terrible. It was pretty bad in my opinion. Number 8, Godzilla King of the Monsters. Wow, Wonder Brothers, just wow. You made a movie about giant monsters, kaijus, fighting to the death, and you committed the worst crime imaginable by making it boring. I literally almost fell asleep in the theater. How can you make Godzilla versus all these monsters boring? Like, seriously, what were you doing? I barely cared about the characters. The only reason I remember the girl in the movie is because she's 11 from Stranger Things. I don't want to talk about this movie ever again, so yeah. Number 8. Okay, I'll fully admit these next 2 entries were kind of hard to switch around to since I do think these 2 movies are okay. So, for number 8 on this list, we're going with Dark Phoenix. I might switch this around later down the road, but as of right now, it's Dark Phoenix. I believe this movie to be an okay film. It's not good, but it's not bad in my opinion. This movie is very entertaining to watch, and yeah, I actually enjoy myself while watching it in the theater. I mean, it's not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination, but I definitely had a good time watching it. The acting was really good, especially from Sophie Turner, James McAvoy, and Michael Fassbender. I also really like the ending scene of Magneto and Professor X playing chess. And yeah, while it's definitely not as good of an ending as, say, Logan or Days of Future Past, I'll fully admit I did enjoy myself while watching this movie. Number 7, the Aladdin remake. Okay, I might change this or Dark Phoenix later down the road, but as of right now, I think this movie is better. It's not terrific by any means. I mean, the movie does have a lot of problems, especially in the climax half. But overall, it was still kind of enjoyable. It's nowhere near as good as the original Aladdin. No way, it's not as good as the original Aladdin. But I had a fun time with this movie. Number 6. John Wick 3 Parabellum. This movie was definitely a good movie, but easily the weakest of the John Wick trilogy in my eyes. The biggest problem with this movie is the ending, especially. I think it would have been a good ending if John Wick just died. I mean, it would have been kind of tragic, all things considered. But there's literally nowhere else to go other than John Wick in the 4th movie going to the Continental and destroying the place. So, yeah. The action's really good, the acting is amazing as always, and yeah, definitely a really good start to the summer. Number 5. Okay, number 5 on this list was kind of a hard choice to pick between, especially with the next 2 entries. But ultimately, if I had to came down to which movie I prefer more, number 5 on this list goes to Invader Zim Enter the Florpus. A really good movie, and also it's a good tribute to the original TV show, in my opinion. The characters are just as likable as they were in the TV show. Zim is actually threatening this time around. The animation is gorgeous and really well done. And yeah, it was surprisingly a really good film. Number 4 goes on this list goes to Rocket Man. I'll fully admit, this movie made up for how boring, how okay-ish Bohemian Rhapsody was. Since unlike Bohemian Rhapsody, this movie has good editing and actually understood the whole life story. Don't get me wrong, Bohemian Rhapsody was a decent movie, all things considered, but it felt kind of eh. With this movie, on the other hand, the acting is really outstanding, especially from Taron Egerton. I do believe Taron does deserve to get an Oscar for this role. If he doesn't get an Oscar, then at least have him get a nomination at the very least. The other actors are fine too. My favorite scene in this movie is, of course, the Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting scene. It's a really good musical number, and for most of the scene, it feels like it's done in all of one take, which is very impressive and deserves a clap for me. So, yeah, Rocket Man deserves number 4 on his list. Now we're in the top 3, and number 3 might get some people angry, I don't know, but this is my list, my ratings, and number 3 on this list goes to Detective Pikachu. I'm sorry, people, but I just really like this movie. It is probably in my top 10 of the year so far. As a Pokemon fan, I adore Detective Pikachu so dang much. The characters were really good, the story was very good, even though a bit predictable. The CGI is really good, and it's weird how Warner Brothers is able to make Pokemon, fictional things, seem more realistic and have more expressions than Disney can with their live-action remakes. Seriously, this doesn't look very good, but still, for Disney. Anyway, let's talk about Detective Pikachu. It's a very good movie, and as a Pokemon fan, I absolutely adored it, so it definitely gets the number 3 entry on this list. Okay, now we have the top 2 on this list, the big boys. And I'll fully admit, I kinda had a hard time picking which was number 1. I kept flip-flopping in and out, but for right now, number 2 on this list goes to Toy Story 4. While not as good as the trilogy, it is still a very good movie, has a lot of heart put into it. The animation is gorgeous. The new characters are really good, especially Duke Kaboom, played by the one and only, the breathtaking Keanu Reeves. But yeah, this was a very good film in my opinion, and if they're going to, please, just have this be the ending to Toy Story, okay? Toy Story 3 had a perfect ending, but now you have this, where, spoiler alert, Woody leaves, so where else there is to go? So yeah, it definitely deserves to be number 2 on this list. And now, number 1, and since we can't have it be Avengers Endgame, it goes to Spider-Man Far From Home. Or Far From the MCU. I am so sorry for that joke I made. I do apologize. Far From Home is a very good film, all things considered. Tom Holland still proves he's the best live-action version of Spidey. Prove me wrong, Maguire. I'm sorry, but Maguire is kind of overrated in my opinion. Tom Holland is excellent as Peter always. Mysterio is one of the best villains in the MCU. The story is really good. The CGI is breathtaking to say the very least, especially with the elementals. And it's a very good movie. The only major problem with this movie is some of the pacing in the first half, and of course, the cliffhanger that will most likely never get resolved. So, yeah. With that being said, that was my summer movie rankings, and post what you thought in the comment section below, and rank your own movies that you saw this year. So, yeah. See you all later, and bye.